Hi everyone. Thank you for joining the Christmas Challenge Digital Ads webinar today. We're just going to give it a minute or two to give people a chance to join and then we will get underway. Hi everyone. Thank you for joining the webinar today. We are just going to give it another 30 seconds to give people a chance to join and then we will get underway. Cool. Thank you all. I think we can get underway now. So I just want to welcome you to the Christmas Challenge Digital Ads webinar. My name is Sahil. I'm the Key Partnerships Manager at BigGive. And on the call today and delivering the webinar today is Carys from Carys Comms, and she will introduce herself shortly. But before we begin, I'll just do a bit of housekeeping. Please set your chat reply to everyone. So you'll see the sort of chat box on the right-hand side of your Zoom panel. So please set that to everyone so everyone can see what you're saying. You can introduce yourself here. You can say who you are, what charity you're from. You can also use it as a way to share ideas. If you have any tech issues, please post them there too, and I'll get to them as soon as I can see them. For the Q&A portion of the webinar, please put them in the Q&A box at the bottom of your Zoom panel. So if you should see that Q&A button, please open that up and put your questions there. Please avoid putting them in the chat box because sometimes they can get lost. And then, yeah, if you have any accessibility needs, if you need the transcription turned on, if you click on the More button at the bottom of your Zoom panel, there should be the option to turn on transcription if you do need that. We will be recording the webinar and we will share it with everyone in the next few days. And if you have any questions after the webinar has ended, please contact us at hello@biggive.org and we will be happy to help. But with all that said and done, I'll pass over to Carys now.
Hello, hi everyone. Thanks so much for joining. Right, I'm going to attempt to share my screen now. This is always the fun bit, isn't it? Here we go. Sorry, bear with me. Typical, it doesn't want to work now. Okay, let's try this. Can you see this? I'm hoping you can.
That's
Perfect. Right then. So hello. Thank you so much for joining. I'm going to be talking about maximizing donations using small budgets and paid social media. So first up, hello, I'm Carys. I am a freelance digital marketing consultant, specializing in working with charities. So throughout my career, over the last 10 years, I've worked with quite a few charities from lots of different sectors. So hopefully what I have to share will be relevant to most of you. I'm also the mother of a very busy toddler. So if I look exhausted, that's why. She thinks sleep is overrated. And the reason that I'm here today is because I'm working with Big Give to help deliver the Christmas challenge, specifically on the paid ad side of things. So this is what we've got planned at Big Give. So we're going to be running a warm-up campaign from the end of November. The aim of this is to increase awareness of the Christmas challenge and the causes that Big Give support, and to build the audience to retarget during the main campaign period. And then the main campaign period, which is 2nd to the 9th of December, we'll be driving traffic to the donation webpage to convert into donations, and using a variety of creatives, including a hero video and vox pops, which you'll all see once they're ready. And we'll also be testing other creative types, and I'll go into more detail about all of that shortly. First up, I would love to know how many of you have actually used paid social media before. For context, I can't see anyone and I have no idea who's in the room with me. So it would be really great if, you could let me know.
Yeah, I've just launched the poll, so I'll just give it a couple of seconds to let everyone respond, and then I'll publish the poll, so hopefully everyone will be able to see it. Cool. Just waiting for the last few people. Cool. I'll publish it now. So hopefully everyone can see that. So hopefully, Carys, I don't know if you can see that, but I can say the answer.
I can't
So
see it.
no worries. So 64% of people said they have used paid social before. 36 said they haven't.
Okay, fab. Okay, lovely. So hopefully what I'm going to be talking about will be useful regardless of whether you used it before or not. I have included basics, just so to make sure that we're all on the same page. So why should you use your budget for the Christmas challenge? I have worked with small charities, medium-sized charities, and large, and I know how tricky budget can be. And especially if you're a small charity with little capacity, I really know how tight things are. But I am here to try and convince you why the Christmas challenge is a really great time to use a little bit of your budget, and a little budget really does go a long way. So this is the reasons why I really think that paid social is a real good idea for you guys. Number one, expanding the reach. Obviously, with organic social, you're at the whim of the algorithm. And even with my experience, it's really hard to predict. Whereas when you use paid social, you can target people specifically that are going to love your content, love your cause, and in this case, hopefully donate. The Christmas challenge in particular and the match funding builds that urgency, and that really entices people. It's almost like scarcity marketing. It's a perfect time to really jump on that opportunity. And then in terms of targeting, as I said, I'm going to go into all of these more in detail, but just as like a normal sales pitch, why it's a good idea. With the targeting, you can literally target people who are going to be interested in your content, and you can target people who are already warm to you. With organic social, there's who knows who's going to see it, and sometimes it's not always the people that you want to see it. And then in terms of results, as with all digital marketing, data is readily available to you, which is perfect because you can adapt as you go, test and learn, and make your money go further. And as I said, even a tiny budget can significantly increase your donations, so it's really worth exploring. Okay, so first step, which platform should you use? I know there's like so many platforms out there, and especially at the moment, there's like rumors of Lemonade. Who knows what that is? I refuse to jump on the bandwagon until I see the actual results. But I've included a few of the most obvious ones. So the biggest one I think is the most relevant for charities, especially small to medium, is Meta, so Facebook and Instagram. The reason for this is I always say go where your audience already are. And for a lot of charities, they already have a really good presence on Facebook and Instagram. Another reason is because it's really cost effective on Meta. It doesn't cost a lot of money to convert people. Like, for example, a click might be something between 5 and 15 pence per click. So even just a £10 a day budget will go really far. It's also relatively intuitive. So if you don't have a dedicated paid social media person to run this campaign or to build the campaign, Meta Ad Manager is quite intuitive, and it doesn't take a genius to work it out. There's also loads of tutorials to help you with that, and I've got a resource slide at the end, so you'll be able to access all of those. Having said that, if you are trying to reach corporate audience or corporate partners or people with specific job titles, LinkedIn might be a better platform for you. One thing to consider is money does not go as far on LinkedIn. So you will need to think about how far your budget will go, just because it does cost more to convert people. And then TikTok, I had to include TikTok. Again, TikTok can be great. The fundraising options on TikTok are evolving all the time, and I know charities do get some success. However, with just the same as when you're on TikTok organically, it takes a lot more capacity. The videos fatigue really quick on TikTok because it's so fast paced. So even though you're going to be in front of a lot of people, you're going to need, just for a week campaign, you'll need like 4 videos ready to go, ready for when they fatigue, which some smaller charities and even medium charities just won't have the capacity to create that and keep optimizing. So for the basis of this presentation, I'm going to specialize in Meta. But if you've got any questions about other platforms, then feel free to ask at the end. Okay, so we're going to go back to basics on Meta, just so you know what I'm talking about when I say these words. So from a campaign, that's pretty self-explanatory. So at this level, you set your objective. You've got a few options. For the basis of the Christmas challenge, it will be link clicks, so traffic, but you can target for engagement, awareness, sales. That's where you would do like a donation ask, or if you had a shop or something like that. And you can also set your budget at this point. That is probably what I would recommend for the Christmas challenge, just because your objective is to drive traffic, and it doesn't really matter which audience drives that traffic, providing that as long as you get donations. So moving on to the audience. So at ad set level, this is where you target your audience. So you can have as many ad sets as you want in one campaign. I don't recommend going too crazy, but 2 or 3 is fine. So if you wanted to target a family audience with more family-based messaging and creative, then this is where you would do that. You'd have a family audience and then a separate one for, I don't know, maybe your more usual donor profile. You can do your budget at ad set level. This can be great if you want to do like a bit of an A/B test where you can check which audience is more likely to engage with your ads. However, since for the Christmas campaign, the aim is to get donations, I would recommend just setting it at campaign level. And then your ad is your creative. So whether it's a video, an image, a carousel, what kind of video it is, you set that at ad level, including all of your copy variations and the link where you're sending people to. Okay, so the other questions I get asked a lot is, what's the difference between boosting and an actual ad campaign? So I asked my friend ChatGPT to draw up this mock-up. This is not a real bakery, even though they do look quite tasty, I suppose. But so from the visual point of view, there isn't a lot of difference. So like as a social media user, you probably won't notice whether it's an ad campaign or it's being boosted. However, the obvious one is the CTA button. So CTA is call to action. On an ad campaign, there's a real clear CTA of like get directions, shop now, sign up, that kind of thing. Whereas on a boosted post, you only get like engagement metrics. So just like, share, comment, that type of thing. Boosted posts are typically only shown to people likely to engage, whereas ad campaigns are shown to people who are likely to act, which obviously for a Christmas campaign, the Christmas challenge, we want people to act. We want people to follow the link. And a boosted post has to be like your existing content. It's not anything new. Whereas an ad campaign, you can set up as its own thing. So to make it like a bit clearer, so in the front, it looks really similar, but from the back end, it really isn't. So I've kind of put a bit of a table. Sorry, there's a lot of words on this slide. Boosting definitely has a place, and it can be great for if you just want more eyes on your content, and you don't really need to go into the nitty-gritty of targeting and that kind of thing. But for the Christmas challenge, I really recommend using an ad campaign, just because, so for a boosted post, the objective can only be engagement or reach, whereas for an ad campaign, you can do sales, leads, conversions, traffic, whatever you need to. The audience control, you can target based on location, age, and like basic interests. But on an ad campaign, you can target custom audiences. So like you can build audiences based on your email lists, for example, and then create lookalikes off of those and retarget people, which is, they're really warm people for you. So for donations, that's the people you want to be targeting. In terms of like optimization, the algorithm will serve it to people who are likely to react when you've boosted a post. Whereas if it's an ad campaign, the algorithm will serve it to people who are going to act on whatever you want them to do. And then, yeah, from an analytics point of view, you'll get likes, comments, and reach on a boosted post, whereas you'll get everything in an ad campaign, like clicks, conversions. So ROAS is return on actual spend. CPA is cost per acquisition. And you'll get all of those, which is really good for justifying future budget. So hopefully that kind of sums up that boosting definitely has a place, but it just provides a more surface level like visibility. Whereas if you need something a bit more strategic, then ad campaign is definitely the way to go. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to like the actual Christmas challenge and like what I think is the best practice for you if you did want to run a campaign around that time. So similarly to what we're going to be doing at Big Give, I recommend doing a bit of a warm up. You can do this using organic content you already have planned. If you have some organic content about case studies or about anything that kind of sums up your cause, you can use the warm up period just a few weeks before the launch of the Christmas challenge to really boost that. You could choose to boost during this time or run a specific warm up campaign to try and just reach more people, increase video views. And then the aim of that warm up would be to retarget all of those people during the main week, which that brings me on to the launch. So during the launch, you would then obviously release your campaign messages. So donate now, your impact is doubled. I will go more specifically into creative and messaging and that kind of thing. But just to give you an idea of like timeline, it would be great to like almost like increase the urgency as the week goes on during that week. And again, retargeting the people you've warmed up. And then obviously towards the end, you would talk about final chance to double your donation today and just that scarcity messaging. And then if you really wanted to afterwards, you could do like post campaign, like mopping up. Obviously, that would be outside the Christmas challenge, but it's really good if you wanted to generate like more of an audience or just generate more donations generally. So targeting, this is the most fun bit of paid social. I come from a psychology background, so I love this bit because it's like, I don't know, it feels really psychology based. But if you are a charity that delivers in a specific area, I really recommend doing a location targeting, mainly because people are more likely to donate to causes that are in their community or impacts their community. So if you can target that audience specifically and use copy that is specific to their region, you are more likely to see success. Having said that, if you are national, then there's lots of other ways that you can target. So interest-based is the best one and probably the one that most people know about. You can target people based on so many different things, including where they shop, how old their kids are, whether they're a grandparent, where they work, you name it, you could target it. And you can also in this time create warm-up audiences. So like audiences from your custom people. So the people who are engaging with you already. So people who are engaging on social media, you can retarget those people and your followers. It sounds like witchcraft, but it's actually really easy to do. There are plenty of tutorials online. Again, I'm going to link those in the resources on how to create custom audiences based off of people who are already engaging with you on your Meta platforms. And then from those people, you can create lookalike audiences, which is people who are cold to you, but they are very similar in profile. And I really recommend doing this. And again, it's just an extra one click when you create your custom audience. It's not more laborious or anything. So I would really recommend that. So budgeting. As I said, you don't need loads of budget in order to make an impact, especially when we're driving link clicks, which are really low cost. So you can start as little as like £10 a day. I really do recommend setting the budget at a daily level as opposed to lifetime. So you have two options when you run a Meta campaign. Lifetime is when you know you have, for example, £1,000 to spend, and then Meta will just spend it as it sees fit during that time. Whereas if you do a daily budget of £10 a day, then you're a lot more likely to be able to put your spend up or bring it down, which is really what I recommend if you've got multiple campaigns running or you are splitting your budget based on ad sets. It's really good to have that flexibility without the risk of going back into learning. I won't go really deep into learning, but it's not the end of the world if you are in learning. It just means that Meta isn't able to optimize as quickly. So the performance of your campaign will be better once it leaves learning. So if you can avoid dropping back into there, then I definitely would. Allocate more money during campaign week. So during warm-up, you may want to assign, I don't know, £50. And then during the main campaign, maybe you assign £100, just to try and make sure that all the emphasis is during the main campaign. Pause low-performing ads and shift to the budget to the winners. As I said, this is a really easy way to just optimize as you go along and monitor key metrics. Check every day during the campaign period. I know it sounds like overkill, but things change so quickly. And often a lot of the activity happens like late at night. So when you're probably not looking, because that's when people scroll. So it's definitely worth checking in every day. Creative. So if you've seen the Christmas challenge Trello, you may have seen that there are templates and brand guidance already available on there. So if you are completely time poor in your team, then there are templates already available in there that you can, the Canva links, you can edit them. So I would really recommend checking those out. If you do have a little bit of capacity to put towards this, I really recommend real photos and like authenticity. Like as a social media user, you will know what you typically stop on, and it's normally like people saying real things. Like it's not heavily branded. Like if you see an ad and it jumps out to you as an ad, you will immediately switch off a lot of the time unless it's a brand that you're really, really sold on already. So if you have real photos or photos that are stock, but they look like real photos, they can also work really well. I have used stock photos that look very authentic in the past, and they've worked just as well as like a real life photo. Storytelling works really well too, using carousels and videos. Excuse me, let me just get a drink. Lots of talking. Yes, storytelling. So if you've got any case studies of families you've supported or animals that you've supported or whatever your cause is, storytelling really sells, especially during the warm-up period. So if you can embrace that in any way, I would really recommend you do that. Keep the text really clear. So double your impact this Christmas, make it really clear, jump out at them so they can see it when they're scrolling. Don't make them work for it. Including clear call to action. So like on the mock-up here, sorry, typical. I've been recovering from a cold. It's lasted forever. Use variations and test results. So use image variations, videos, and your copy, which I'll come on to. And then urgency and countdowns. There are some templates in the Trello board of countdowns and time limited language already. So maybe use these as a bit of to get you off a blank page. Okay, so what good looks like. I feel like that was a lot of words, so it helps to like look at something sometimes. These are just a few ads which have been served to me in the last few weeks, which I thought were quite good. This first one, Action for Children, excuse me, I really liked it because of the use of, that's a stock image, I think, but it doesn't scream stock image to me. So I quite like the fact that it's a really good use of stock imagery. The girl is doing a lot of the talking in terms of she's got a coat on, she looks cold, like she's kind of like doing a lot of the communicating that they're looking for. I also like the use of the Be a Secret Santa. I like that the Secret Santa is almost like branded Action for Children, but it's not hugely branded, if that makes sense. So I really like this, and I like that the headline, which is the text on the bottom near the Donate Now button, I don't know if you can see my cursor, that is really short, and again, it just emulates what I'm reading. The only thing I would say is the copy personally is a bit long, so this copy here, but again, it tells the story, so maybe that works for them. Compassion UK, the reason I like this one, so this creative is a video of a little girl, and she has a crown on. She looks really cute, and I love that because it kind of just leans into the cute factor, which I know sounds really cliche, but it does actually work. And so if you've got anything, like if you support, I don't know, animals or babies or anything, like any sort of cute factor does tend to really pull on the heartstrings. And I also love the Find Your Birthday Twin. I just feel like it's a bit it's just clickbaity, isn't it? It doesn't feel like they're asking for money or anything, even though they are. The Saint Mungos, I like this one because they've used their branding, they have their word mark, but it's not super obvious just because they've also got other text on there which looks really similar. I like that I don't need to read the copy above because the copy's already on that image, so it does all the talking. I also really like, again, this image might be a stock image. It's definitely posed, but I like the fact that both of the subjects in the image are looking towards me as the user. And I think that's really motivating and would like encourage me to give or sign up in their case. And again, the use of a dog. People love dogs, especially at Christmas. So I think that's a real smart one. The copy on the St. Mungo one is really short, which again, I really liked. And then BetterHelp, this isn't a charity, but I just wanted to highlight how influencer marketing can really work. I know that most charities do not have budget for Lewis Capaldi, but if you have ambassadors or like any celebrity or well-known person at your disposal, I would definitely try and use them, even if it's just like a 20-second video of them holding their phone in front of their face, like selfie style, just talking about the cause. It's incredible how much of a difference it can make. I also like how, so I haven't expanded this copy intentionally. It says now's the time to begin your comeback, and then it cuts off. But it almost doesn't matter because I don't need to expand that because I already know what they're asking me to do. They're already trying to motivate me. So they've really thought about like where that text cuts off. So again, this is one of the reasons why I say really think about this copy. So like here, it will cut off to there for vulnerable children across the UK. That doesn't give me a lot of context. And then, so what bad looks like, I didn't want to pick on anyone, obviously. So this is an AI generated, very, very extreme example of a very bad ad. So obviously nobody would ever do this, but just to give you an idea of how not to do it. The copy is unnecessarily long. Nobody's going to read that. There's no breaks, and it's obvious. You know that. The colours are really non-engaging, and not only that, they probably don't pass accessibility because they're really similar in tone. There's too many words, obviously, on the actual creative, and there's also a typo there. There's no image of people or faces. People are more likely, as I said, people buy into people, not brands. So faces really stop the scroll. And then obviously this headline, a headline would never do that, by the way. That's just the AI. But the headline is too long. It would cut off at the headline. So it'd literally just say, this is the headline, and then it would cut off. So it's really worth thinking. Stick to like three to 4 words for a headline. Okay, data. So data, as I've said, I'm really data-driven, and being data-driven really helps when you're running a campaign. Ads Manager is really intuitive, and you can track reach, clicks, conversions, demographic of the people engaging. I would take those with a pinch of salt, but it gives you an idea of like the age and gender of the people who are engaging with your content. And yeah, I would really lean on that for your decision making. Ordinarily, I would encourage you to add UTM links to your donation page so that you can track on your Google Analytics. In the case of the Christmas challenge, you're going to be directing people to the Big Give webpage. So that doesn't apply here, but in future, for future campaigns, I really recommend using that. Check daily during the campaign week. As I said, things change really quick, so do keep on top of it. And yes, scale up best performing ads and pause the weekends. Just switch them off. It's just a toggle. It's really easy. Just switch them off if they're not doing it for you. And then this is like the common mistakes I see. So don't run too many campaigns at once. At Christmas time, it's really oversaturated. Everybody is trying to get money from you, and it's not just charities. It's like ASOS and Next and John Lewis and Debenhams and everybody else. I don't know if Debenhams exists, actually. Maybe not Debenhams. But yeah, so everyone's trying to get money off you. So there's a lot of competition already. So don't add to the competition by making your own. So if you run multiple campaigns, you're competing with yourself unless you specifically set out different audiences. So I would recommend either have a warm-up campaign and then a main campaign. You don't need any more than that. Unless you have anything else running in alongside it, just stick to that. Make sure that you set clear goals. So for your warm-up, it might be reach or engagement. And then obviously during the main campaign period, that would be traffic. Don't over-target. People can get really excited about the fact you can target like Deborah down the road. Don't do that. You want to target people. So yes, think about what's the commonality between your general donor profile. You could use, like if you've got brand personas, you could use those as a steer, but don't go too narrow because you'll end up with not enough people to target, and your creative will exhaust, and then you'll annoy your audience. Don't ignore underperforming ads. Don't waste your budget. Honestly, you will waste your budget really quickly, and don't wait till the last minute. You've got plenty of time to think about it now until the end of November. So get all that sorted, and don't wait until the last minute to change things either. Like, just try and think about things in advance. That goes for a lot of things. Okay, in summary, so big give, match funding creates urgency. So it's a really great time to be running paid ads. You don't need a huge budget. So use that scarcity, use that urgency to really double down on it. And literally, as I said, it's such a great opportunity for donors. They get to double the amount they give. So if you only have £5, that is really, and I think a lot of people with a smaller amount of monies don't want to donate because they don't think they have enough money. So this is a real great opportunity to like capitalize on those. Plan your ads in phases, warm up, retarget, launch, and urgency. Start small. So test, learn, and optimize, as I said. Test at the beginning, test your different messaging, start with a small budget, and then just learn as you go on. Switch things off if they're not working. Use clear visuals, strong CTA, so call to actions, and urgent messaging. And just remember, small budgets can deliver big impact. They really can. You do not need a huge budget. Thank you. I'm sorry, my throat's gone all raspy. It's just typical. But yeah, my main message is you can do this. It is doable. My slides will be available so you can go back through them. And if you need any help, you can give me a shout, just not right now, because I need a cough. My email and my website are just down there. I help charities with this kind of thing all the time. So if there's anything I can help with, I would love to. Here's the resource we talked about, sorry. And any questions? There we go, I'm done.
Thank you, Carys. Maybe if you can just go back one slide and we can, sorry, I was going to say just like leave those resources just up. But thank you for that presentation. It's really great. And we do have some questions. So hopefully you got your breath back, but I will start with them. So Inez has asked, so we heard Meta will not allow political ads anymore. Don't donations from an NGO that does political work, such as Stay Grounded, qualify as that?
That's a good question. So you do have to be registered. So you have to verify yourself to be able to run political ads. As far as I know, I'm currently working with another charity who I'm running political ads for. So you just have to be registered. You do have to jump through quite a few hoops to get there. In this case, depending on your messaging, you might get away with not registering it as a political ad. Depending on, I don't know what your cause is, so it really does depend on your messaging. But if it's just a fundraising ask, then you could potentially get around it. But sorry, just for one more thing, just for clarity. The process for getting yourself you have to identify yourself, so you have to send everything to Meta, and then they will grant you the ability to run political and social ads. But it takes a few weeks. So if you need to do that, I would do it straight away.
Great. And just a following on question from that, also from Inez, that they've previously had issues with setting up ads because of location authentication. Is there an easy way to do this on an international/European level? So I assume they may be based somewhere in Europe.
Oh, okay. That's it. I don't know the answer to that. I'm really sorry. Mainly because I only work with charities based in the UK at the minute, but I'm happy to have a look into that. Location authentication. Yeah, I'll have a look into it and I can feed any answers back to Big Give and we can get in touch with you. But really sorry, I don't know off the top of my head.
That's okay. Great. And we have a question here from Hattie about Google Grants ads. So they have a Google Grants ad manager. Is it best to leave all ads to him and just let him know about the dates of the Big Give and any other details?
So you have a manager already. Yes, I would inform them. Just inform your manager of what the campaign dates are and the main URLs you want to target. And hopefully, based on their skill set and specialism, they'll be able to advise the best route forward. But just make sure that you're really explicit about what you want to target, and the dates for which you want to target, so you're not wasting any money.
And with the Google Grant ads, I guess some would have to set up like a landing page on their own website and then direct because they won't be able to use the Big Give link. Is that correct?
Yes, yeah. So sorry, I should have said that. So if you've got a landing page, like as exactly as you said, set up your own page. I think I just assumed in between my coughing,
Mm.
you just had one.
It's
Yeah, set up your own main page, campaign page on your website, so you can direct traffic to there, and just make sure the user journey on your landing page will send people to the Big Give page then.
Uh, Here's a question from Emily. We support people with a specific rare disease who are across the UK Northern Ireland. We have struggled in the past to set a target audience as it is a small and specific community. Do you have any tips?
Yes. So my question to you would be: do you think only people affected by that condition are the people who are likely to donate about it, and the people who are likely to care about it? I think for me, like I might still be interested in it, even if I'm not. I don't have the condition myself, so I think consider broadening your interest pool, so you don't think that you have to target just those people. I think about their families, their loved ones, their friends, those people. Try and profile them, and like how you could target them, because they're just as likely to donate as that audience, because as you said, tiny audience, you're going to exhaust them really quickly. So yeah, just consider the people who are also interested in it.
I see a question in the chat here from May, and she's asking, is there a specific way to create customer profiles or meta when setting up ads?
Customer profiles. It depends what you mean by customer profiles. So you can create custom audiences on Meta using existing data. So if you've got email lists, or if you've got like customer lists for anything, or you can also create custom audiences from existing Meta data. So people who've engaged with your social media, people who have watched your videos. So yes, you can do that. Um, I don't know if that's what you mean. So sorry, I don't have any more context, but that's really simple to do. You can build a custom audience and then build lookalikes from those audiences, which I really recommend doing, because it's basically people. You could upload your email list, which might have 2,000 people, and then Meta will find people similar to those people and target them. And they're very similar, but cold. But I still really recommend that.
Great. Here's a question from Polly. With charity supporting refugees and people seeking asylum, I know face photos are most effective, but we can't always do this with our clients. How would I approach this differently?
I would use stock imagery if you can. So I've worked with a charity similar who can't use real images because the people that they're supporting are protected or whatever, and so use stock images that are authentic as possible. And there are some out there. It can take some scrolling and a while to find them, but I would definitely go for, if you can, stock imagery. If not, you could potentially think about doing some sort of quotes or something. Like if you could share a quote on an infographic, or a video with a voiceover, and it doesn't have to be the person that you're supporting. It could be somebody else voicing over. It just brings it to life, brings that person to life.
Yeah, one thing I think I saw one charity do is I think they were working with young people, which they couldn't see, is they sort of got them to do some artwork and use that artwork in play. So yeah, you can think about ideas like that. Here's a question from Kate. Even and maybe it's a question about how long is a piece of string, but even if we only have 300 followers, can £10 a day still make a difference and increase our donations, or would we need to spend more?
Um, so your followers, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many
Mhm.
followers you have. It really doesn't. They're not, your paid ads are not going to target your followers. Your followers probably will land in your audience. So I wouldn't even worry about that. Yes, it will still make a difference. You you're paying to get it in front of everyone who fits that criteria, whether they're your follower or not. So whether a huge charity with 1 million followers spends £10, or whether a tiny charity with 300 followers spends £10, you still both have the same ability to target the same amount of people. Your followers doesn't matter. So yes, is the short answer.
Barbara, what audience would you target to support older people through winter?
Older people through winter. So is your target audience older people? I'm
Well,
assuming.
yeah, I guess, yeah, target support older people. So I guess the charity supports older people through winter.
Yeah. So if you are specifically wanting to reach older people, then you can do that using Meta. You can change the age demographic. But again, I would go back to are older people the only people who care? And no is probably the answer. Everyone cares about that. Nobody wants people sitting in their house freezing. So that I would think about your broader audience. Maybe don't just target. Think about, people who's got grandparents or father who are sitting at home freezing. If it is the older people, then you can do your age demographic, just make that limited. There is a big audience of older people on Facebook, so you'd be surprised how many people you can actually reach. So yeah.
And then maybe also looking at demographics of where wealthier older people may be living and doing that sort of geographic, because they would maybe be more inclined to support older people that aren't able to afford heating bills, etc. So that's something to look into.
Yeah.
Uh, Taryn saying, what interest would you suggest to target for a children's poverty and crisis charity?
Um, Parents, basically. Parents, people who care about children. So I've worked with a charity similar who had a similar type of cause, poverty, children, that kind of thing, and families. So grandparents, parents, you can target people based on the age of their children, even. So if you have an ad and you're running a creative and it's got all younger kids in, target parents who have younger children. I know that sounds quite evil, but that is how it works because they're the people who are going to care about babies.
I guess that's a great also follow on to this question is from Charlotte. I work for a youth theatre charity. Do you think we should target copy towards young people or their parents' families? The young people we work with are 11 to 21, so not likely in a position to donate. But in all social media copy, we tend to address things to them, wondering if a parent would still pay attention if the ad seems directed to a young person.
Hmm. Um, I You could do both. Run two. So run two different ad sets. One ad set targeting young people. What I will say is Meta will only let you target 18 and above. So if you are only for your demographic, you've only got 3 years, which is not a lot. But if you're national, then potentially that's still enough. And test it. Just try targeting one. Have copy that's targeted at young people, and then have a different ad set, and you're not going to waste any money because Meta's going to figure out where it's working the best, and it's going to spend its money there. So if the parent one is the one that's working the most, then you'll see it quickly and just switch the other one off. But yeah.
I guess it's also about flipping that copy. So it's sort of going to the parents, imagine if you're a child, and then what problems are you addressing for the kids? Sort of trying to just flip that copy slightly and try and put the parents in the child's shoes that way as well.
Yeah,
Uh,
and most understanding the struggles of the parent as well, which I'm
mm,
sure they already do at this charity. But it's
yeah,
understanding the struggles of a parent supporting a child going through wherever the child is, and just again, using that narrative.
and Amy's asked a privacy question. Can I double check for uploading your email list for the purposes of a lookalike audience? This is dependent on your charity's privacy policy and what that allows. So I guess you have to check your own policy first before uploading it.
Yeah, I would check your own policy for everything, because you can also do you can have a pixel on Meta where you can track people's behavior on your website, but not every charity
Mm.
that's not compliant for every charity. So yeah, double check everything before you do any of these things. But
Yeah, that's a great example
I
because
should have
for
included
example,
that. Sorry, I should have
yeah,
included that in my slides.
yeah. Yeah, that's a great example because, for example, our privacy policy doesn't actually cover
Yeah.
pixels or metapixels. So yeah. We have an image of our beneficiaries, but they've all been used in previous campaigns. Is there an issue with recycling old photos? Will they fatigue?
Depends how long ago they were used. So people tend to forget. So if it was like last year, you could probably get away with it, but I would recommend throwing in some new ones, even if they're stock, and then testing it. Like I've run campaigns for a few years in a row, and we've used our best performing from the previous year, and then thrown in some new ones that look similar. And I understand that if you've got your actual beneficiaries, you might want to like champion those images. But it's definitely worth trying ones. Maybe if you don't have more up to date ones, then just get stock that looks similar. And yeah, because as I said, it's been a year. Chances are people aren't going to remember, but it's worth testing it anyway. It's worth including a few options and then just let the AI decide.
Um, Amy's asking, what are some good resources for stock images?
So there's a few different. There's free places. So there's Pexels, Pixabay. I'll add those to the resource list actually,
Mm,
and then before we send the that's a good shout. I should have included that. I'll add those ones. So they're free. Then there are paid for ones. So there's like Getty, and there's another one which I can't remember. Getty's very good, but I think it's quite expensive.
yeah.
So I will add some links to some in the resource page. But there are free ones, and if you've got Canva, Canva also has some on there,
Mm.
and Splash, that's another one. Um, so yeah,
We've used that, I think, and that's been quite good.
yeah,
Uh, Helen's asking, we're county-specific charity supporting wildlife. Is it worth broadening our reach for this campaign as other local wildlife charities around us aren't doing the Christmas challenge?
yeah. I don't see why not.
Mm,
Because anyone who's likely to visit I think, is fine. So anything within commutable distance, I think would work out fine. And you're not going to lose anything by targeting a bit further out.
mm.
Obviously don't go really, really far. So make sure that your copy is still relevant for your region and the people who live in your region. But yeah, just make it. I think it. Yeah, yes. In short, and what I would say, you can toggle audience plus on, which sound I know that sounds bizarre, but if you're actually in there, you'll be able to see it. If you toggle that on, you tick for it to actually do that. Meta will target people similar anyway, and it will expand your audience. So yes, it's a short answer.
Um, yeah, where will be a Big Give be targeting? Where will the Big Give targeting be directing people? Is there a central Big Give landing page which contain all the lists of charities? Yes, there is. We have a Christmas challenge landing page which has all the campaigns on it. So that's where all of our ads and all of our comms directs donors to. Our campaign is combating homelessness in refugees over winter. The current situation regarding people seeking asylum is challenging and public opinion can be mixed. If we aim for wider reach with our campaign, how should we approach this to minimize negative reactions if there is a way? I know that's hard to avoid, Polly says.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, it is hard to avoid. And to be honest, the only thing I would say in that situation is just to have your messaging nailed down beforehand and have like almost like a bank of replies ready to go, have
Mm,
like your crisis comms ready. And yeah, sadly, there's not a lot you can do. Like with your targeting, obviously, you can try and be really specific about um like type of people who are not likely to do that. But the way that the algorithm sometimes works, depending on what your objective is. For example, if you used like an engagement or reach objective, Meta is going to try and reach people who are engaging, even if their comments are negative. So you can end up in like a hole, a negative hole. So I would just really recommend keeping an eye on your ads. So like really regular checking on the comments and having like a bank of yeah messaging ready to go. But yeah, sadly, there's not a lot you can do to avoid that.
And then Rob is asking, what would you say is the best practice for targeting a cold audience for the campaign like this? How should we be balancing the three messages of what the charity does, the chance to double the donation, and then the call to action?
That's a really good question. So in terms of the targeting, again, so I would target people relevant to your cause. That's the main targeting, I think. So whatever's relevant to your cause. In terms of the messaging, so like what your cause is and the doubling, I would again test them. Just run multiple ad creatives with different. And towards the end of the campaign period, so you could within the last few days release like a creative that's about like urgency, only a few days left, that kind of thing. So I think whereas at the beginning of the campaign you might want to go a bit heavier on the cause and like who you are and that kind of thing. So by the time you get to the end, people are going to be served your ad saying you've only got a few days left, and hopefully they've already bought into who you are by then. That's another reason why warm up is a really good way to try and get those people ready for that messaging. But yes, again, I would just say test it all and see how it goes. Yeah.
Um, Kate is asking, how many days would you recommend to warm up before the 2nd of December if they're on a tight budget?
Um, Depends how tight your budget is. You could do like even just a week. Just do like the previous week or 5 days before. And if you had, £10 a day or whatever it is, whatever's affordable for you. It's surprising how far like just £50 can go. So
Mm.
even just a week before is enough. If you're really tight. Obviously longer is better, but I think at Big Give we're planning a week. So
Yeah, you don't want to release them too far in advance that people see them, but then forget them. Yeah,
yeah.
there is that sweet spot. Craig is asking, our cause overlaps with, but is a little different to the most well-known global issues, for example, the conflict in Gaza. How could we tell if our paid ads are piercing through those of other bigger charities who presumably are spending a lot more than us to reach similar audiences? Are ads essentially in competition with each other in that sense?
Okay. And the question is, how can we tell if it's piercing through?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
well, you can tell on it'll be in the data. It'll say like, are you getting link clicks and what are people doing? Like, so for this campaign, obviously you'll get link click data on your meta ad dashboard. So are they going up? And then you will see the donations on the other end. So it's kind of like making sure that it's marrying up. And yeah, data is the main way. I think for you, because it overlaps so much with, like you said, huge charities which are all competing for the same airtime. Try and think about what your USP is and go hard on that. So like there must be something a little bit different to you than all those bigger charities. Go push that, and that's how you'll pierce through the noise, because everyone's going to be a bit overwhelmed by all the noise around that kind of topic. So yeah, think about what makes you different and push that in your ads.
Sam is asking, Meta ad conversions can be tracked on our website, but since the journey is to donate on the Big Give campaign page, we can't track that. I guess she's saying, oh, sorry, Sam, I guess they're saying, I guess conversions are just ad clicks in this sense.
Yeah,
That's what they're measuring.
yes, yeah, you will be. Yeah. So in this case, yeah, you can't, because it's not on your website, you won't be able to track that. So yes, you can only set for traffic.
And Kate is asking, are there case studies that show how much charities have spent raised through paid ads, i.e., spent X and raised X? We don't have specific examples. We do have a bank of case studies across the Christmas challenge, which are available on our website. So you can check those case studies, and I think a few of them, I can't think of the ones off the top of my head, have some examples of their sort of ad spend. Um, yeah, so those were for the Christmas challenge specific case studies. You can have a look at them. And final question. I can't see any other questions apart from one from Melanie who's asking if the PowerPoint slides are available for all webinars. Yes, we put all the slides, I think, on the Trello board, so you should be able to access them there. Uh, and sorry, there's one last question here from Megan. Can people give from overseas? Yes, any we can accept some donations from anywhere in the world. Anyone donating outside of the UK will have to use a card to make their donation. Um, Sorry, one second. I'm just going to post that Trello board link once again because it has been asked. Just bear with me while I bring it up. It should also be, it's available in your campaign dashboard as well, um, in the resources section, but I'll just put in the chat as well so everyone can see. Um, but yeah, thank you, Carys, for that webinar. A lot of great content for people to get started on using digital ads with Meta, especially. So thank you for the webinar today and sharing your time with us. Thank you all for joining the webinar today. Really appreciate your questions and interaction with this webinar. A reminder, we do have the Ask Us Anything webinar on Monday at 12 p.m. That's your opportunity to ask me and Beth any questions that you may have. So please have your questions prepared. We really rely on that webinar for your interaction. So come with all your questions, no questions too silly, and we will answer them. But in the meantime, I hope everyone has a great rest of the week and great weekend ahead. Bye.